Hey guys! In this video I'll be talking about another 5 RPGs that you can finish in somewhere around 20 hours. There is no particular order in this list, and without further ado, let's begin. In the first entry we have Oninaki. You can play it on PS4, Steam and Switch. Here we will follow Kagachi's story, in a world where Watchers help people to pass to their next life. However, his life is not that orthodox, as he gets to see a peculiar girl since he was young. Same girl that he will find years later in his adult life, encounter that pretty much changes his life forever. For the most part, I will say that this is an entertaining story, with several philosophical takes with the reincarnation topic. However, I consider it is kept in something similar as old school games, so be prepared to read a lot. As for the gameplay, it takes around 20 hours to beat, where we play in a top-down view controlling Kagachi's action. The gameplay in all honesty is a bit clunky depending which diamond you decide to use. Characters that we find along the journey are relatively fast. Some make the gameplay clunkier as they have really slow moves, while others are quite fast, but dealing a bit less damage. In general, thinking this game as a moderately slow hack and slash with some RPG elements. Personally, I will say that the boss fights are the best aspect of this game. Aside from that, I consider Oninaki decent for the 20 hours we get out of it. In the second entry we have Mario and Luigi, Partners in Time, found on the DS. This story will follow our classic duo, this time fighting an alien species named the Shrubs. The Shrubs took hostage Peach and her castle in the past, and it is up to our plumbers to beat the heck out of these aliens in a wholesome and laughable story. In general, Mario RPGs are quite entertaining in their narrative. This game is no exception, as it has many entertaining moments despite its short story, that takes somewhere around 20 hours to beat. Gameplay wise, if you have played Super Mario RPG, Dream Team, Bowser's Inside the Story, this one is not that different. It is a turn-based RPG with some active systems, where you will have to press the right buttons while in combat, where you can control the babies as well as Mario and Luigi depending from the kind of items you use, as well as enemy attacks, where you will traverse multiple iconic places from their original world, as Peach's Castle, the Koopaseum, Bowser's Castle, and so on. Just keep an eye for the beans that you can find along the journey, they can help a lot in the last section of the game. In the third entry, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, found on the PS4, 5 and Steam. Here we will follow the captain's story, in their journey to find Estalucia, the mythical Astram realm. While traversing new areas in the Grand Cipher, they are attacked by monsters, which forces the captain and Lyria to summon Bahamut. However, things turn sour as Lyria loses control. After a fierce fight, Lyria retakes control over Bahamut, but she falls overboard. That's when Byrne and the captain jump after her. Unfortunately for them, the captain is not able to prevent their fall. From that point onwards, a new adventure will begin, as they get to meet Roland, character with many secrets. The main story of this game takes around 15 hours. It is relatively short, that is if you decide to keep it at that point, because you can sink much more time if you want to uncover some after events, which in all honesty are predictable, but that is if you fall in love with its gameplay, which is pretty much quest driven, where you will have to explore small areas and then jump into fights, where you can use different characters, each one with unique combos and skills. If you fell in love with this system, in the second half it is all about quests to either defend particular assets, beat as many enemies as possible, or beat the heck out of the bosses once again. Just beware that there are some hard battles down the seemingly easy gameplay. In the fourth entry, we find two games, Is Origin and Odyssey in Felghana. You can find them on Steam, PSP, Switch and PlayStation. Both of them take around 13 hours or so to finish their main story, where in one side you will get to know what are the first events in this fantasy world, while in Odyssey in Felghana you get to see the continuation from Is 1 and 2, 3 years later in Doggy's Town, where Adol and Doggy will have to put a stop to the evil events happening. Both games have similar gameplay with top-down views, where you will have to traverse different areas while brutalizing enemies. They are for the most part basic hack and slash games, with some RPG elements, where the levels in general are not hard until you find a boss, which most likely is going to beat you a couple of times. Really entertaining games worth the time, if you don't mind some simple narrative as well as gameplay. And in the fifth entry, Moero Chronicle Hyper. You can find it on Steam, Vita and Switch. Here we will follow a niche journey with our main character Io, who's running away from his desire, and moments later pretty much forced to solve the rising problem of monster girls who are attacking the city. That is how Io and his childhood friend Lilia venture into this essential and laughable story. This is one of those stories where you don't have to think too much between lines and enjoy the dumb journey, because even mythological moments are turned into dumb circumstances. One example I enjoy, it's the classic Leviathan vs Behemoth. It is a game that you can finish in somewhere around 10-15 hours depending from your skills in first-person dungeon crawlers. This is not as hard as other games like Etron Odyssey, Wizardry or the first SMT games. It's just the post-content. As for the team composition, every monster girl has different jobs and attributes, where they can focus on attack, defense, support, and so on. For the Switch, just keep in mind that there is a minigame that it is way easier to finish in handheld mode, because in docked position it can be a bit hard to touch specific spots to win this minigame. Other than that, you can think in this game as a simple adventure. And that is all folks, I hope you found this video informative. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.